In the earlier sections, we looked at stealing or downloading or exfiltrating the cloud credential files or tokens. And earlier in the previous modules or previous sections of the workshop, we created these tokens, but they were fake. They didn't contain any actual real credential material. So I thought it would be interesting to show what it looks like when one of these tokens is actually decrypted and you can actually see the credential material inside of it. And we're going to be using this method with the Azure token. Then this is due to the fact that we looked at the AWS token previously and we saw that there was no encryption taking place there. The credentials were just hanging out in clear text. The Azure token, by contrast, is encrypted. However, it's encrypted with deep API, so the user that is on the box, the account that's actually interacting with the token, has rights to decrypt it. So what we can do is use Mimikatz and use the following command here. So dpapi blob and then in, and we just feed it the parameter of our Microsoft token cache bin file, and we give it the unprotect flag here. And once we run that, we'll kind of get a whole bunch of data returned to us. And this data that is scrolling by right now is what we're most interested in. This is the decrypted blob. It's in hex form. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and copy this. And hopefully I could manage to do it correctly here. And we will then paste it into CyberChef. And we'll do the from hex operation or recipe here. And we can see the output is our token values in decrypted form. So we could see this EYJ0E string denotes an Azure token of some kind. And don't try to copy this because this token will be invalid by the time the video makes its way to the public. But I just wanted to kind of demonstrate what's actually found in these tokens and why theft of them is a pretty dangerous thing. Because with this token, you can go ahead access the same Azure resources as the user. This is a bear token, and if I'm not mistaken, there's some newer research out there that provides the ability to convert this kind of token into a session cookie, so that you can access Azure resources through the browser as well. We're going to be diving into session cookies a bit later in the course and the workshop. But again, I just thought it would be interesting to show what this actually looks like in practical terms, what it looks like when the token is decrypted. And of course, we see our events. If we were to refresh and take a look at our 4663 events, we do see this event logged, in that we see the Azure token file here, and then we see the Mimikatz process accessing it. So again, that's why these events are so powerful. One thing to note here is that if you're kind of following along with the course and you're making fake tokens and then deleting them and then recreating them by actually installing the Azure CLI in this case and authenticating to an Azure resource, just keep in mind that when the token is deleted and recreated, the SACL auditing that was applied to it gets deleted as well. So if you're kind of playing around with these tokens and are finding that the 4663 events are not generating, just go ahead and run the script. I think I still have it open here. Yeah. Just go ahead and rerun the script that goes ahead and actually applies the SACL auditing to the tokens again. So again, just to reiterate that, if you delete this MSAL token underscore cache.bin file, and that file had a SACL previously applied to it, if you delete it and recreate it, that SACL no longer applies. So you have to rerun the script to reapply the SACL on it. And just a reminder, because I know that earlier in the section, we created this file with fake content. But in this case, I've gone ahead and actually logged into an Azure service and then decrypted the file here with Mimikatz. So that kind of wraps up the section here. In this section, we did a whole bunch of file share access events. We looked at what it looks like when a user account that has access to files and file shares goes ahead and accesses these. And then we looked at what it looks like when a user doesn't have access to these same resources, accesses the files. And we then looked at SACL auditing. We looked at various cloud tokens. And then we also looked at PowerShell and why PowerShell is kind of a trickier process to wrangle, where we applied some qualifier queries to that in order to kind of bubble up malicious activity. So in the next section here, we're going to switch gears a little bit and focus on Linux. And Linux is kind of a little bit underutilized in the detection engineering space. It doesn't have as much focus on it as Windows operating systems do. However, this same dynamic as we looked at on a Windows host, where a Windows host has files that contain tokens to cloud services, exists on a Linux host as well. So in the next section, we're going to be focusing on Linux, and we're going to be using Laurel, auditd, and we are going to be using the same kind of C2 framework aspect and cloud token access, but on the Linux OS. So I'll see everyone in the next section. Thank you.